All righty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. Today is going to be very different than what we usually do. Obviously, you'll hear our dream lineups, then news and injuries. We're going to switch it up on you today because a major date has passed within the NFL, and that is the trade deadline. And
The most moves
my
in NFL
goodness,
trade
yeah,
deadline history.
that is, yeah, it's by
Yes.
far the most moves I've seen pretty much ever, honestly, as far as
No, it's a
midseason.
straight fact.
Yeah, ever. And so there's a lot of fantasy impact when it comes to redrafts, when it comes to
can we start with my favorite news?
what it,
No.
oh
Let him
wow.
finish the intro first, Ethan.
Well,
God.
the
Wow.
intro can
Let the
wait.
let the man be giddy. Let
But
the man be
news, yeah,
giddy.
I want to be giddy, and we should all be giddy. Dan Snyder,
Okay, yeah.
he's being
Actually, you know
forced
what?
to
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yes.
That's right.
So here's what
forced to
okay.
sell.
Okay, so he has hired I believe the report is Bank of
It's
America,
like Bank
like
of America,
Trust
yeah.
Securities or something like that, and they have started that process. Here's why it's important, I guess, for me to think about it. I mean, obviously, the Snyders have had a very let's just say checkered history when it comes to NFL ownership, and especially within the last few years. And honestly, the
Definitely.
faster they get new ownership,
The better.
the better, and the more attractability Washington becomes. So that's something to be very like keen on looking into. On top of that, especially if the owner has a lot of cash flow, just because we've seen a lot of cash over cap moves. Thank you, the Rams. So it's becoming a trend. So like that's why Broncos became such an important aspect to it. So,
Mhm.
I know. I feel like you should just give us the team. I feel like we could run it.
oh, I feel like we can too, but I wish I
That's
had
just
the
me.
money. I wish I had. I wish I
Yeah,
had
you
Right.
that
got
money.
two billion.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right. I'm gonna give you a question right now before we get into the all the trades. You cannot pick your favorite team, but if you were to own an NFL team, what team would it be?
The Minnesota Vikings.
No, I said you
You
cannot
can't
pick
pick your
your
own team,
team.
Ryan. Thanks for listening, sweetheart.
Dang it. All right, show's
The
cat.
Minnesota Vikings. There are no
Wow.
other teams.
Wow.
Sorry.
So Ryan just
No,
can't
honestly,
follow the rules.
honestly, I do have a team. Um, they have a great fan base. I like the location, and they're very well known. I mean, it's the Saints. I love.
Oh,
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
gross.
I fell in love with the team during the Drew Brees era. Like I don't know. It was that whole like after Katrina, and they rallied the New Orleans rallied around the Saints, and that was what brought that community back to life. So I don't know. I like it. It's
I
historic.
respect that answer. That's a good answer. Ethan, what would be your team?
I want you to say yours first.
Oh, mine, Tennessee Titans.
Really
I
interesting.
mean Nashville, perfect spot. Honestly, to me it was that or Buffalo for me because I think Tennessee or Buffalo has some of the like most hardcore fan bases,
Oh yeah, Buffalo
and
definitely.
and it's like as long as you have
I,
like
don't
a
know, I
great
think,
fan base, you can make it work.
yeah, I think like Vikings or Chiefs would be fun.
Oh, Chiefs is a good one. Chiefs is a really good pick, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be stuck between them. I'd have to flip a coin between Vikings and Chiefs.
Yeah, no, yeah. Imagine you see. This is what I want to do. Is one year, whenever we have the money and time to do this, we each go to a game of our favorite teams. Just all three of us. Just
I would love to do that.
Oh, like we all support
Yeah.
each other. So like we all fly out to like Maryland and catch a
Oh,
Baltimore game and
yeah.
that's
just
so
root for the.
cool.
I'd actually be
I'd be
really
down
down
for
for that
that.
I'd be
I'd
so
be
down
down
because
for
for
I
that.
that.
like. I mean, I don't have a problem with the Ravens or the Vikings. I think they're both great
Yeah, and
teams.
Yeah,
I
I've been wanting to go to like a training camp.
well, I would like. Oh, dude, that would be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
definitely get that experience would be just awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Anyways, well, with that being
But
said, welcome to the Last
but
Place Fantasy Football
yeah,
Podcast.
thank you for dealing with our tangent, but I think that was a very worthy tangent, Ethan.
It was.
So-
it was very
I appreciate it.
So,
That's what I'm here for.
guys, all right. So here's what we're going to do. I have come up with a few big questions regarding all the trades that went down. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There was 8 trades that happened yesterday alone. I'm not including Robbie Anderson, not including CMC, because we kind of talked about those ad nauseum.
and not
and-
including the James.
I
Robinson?
included James Robinson
thank
in
you.
there
Sorry.
because that's a very interesting one. Obviously, we talked about the ETN impact,
'cause-
but I
yeah.
want to talk about the Jets impact for that one.
Oh yeah, the church has been
Gotcha.
established.
Yeah, the church is established. And we just got we need to talk about who got cast out, basically. So
Josh.
no, not Josh. I will fight to stay in. All right, but here are some of. So basically, I'm going to start with a few questions, and we're just going to take it from there. The first one I want to talk about is what on earth do we feel about running backs? And I'm going to tell you the one specifically. Naeem Hines, James Cook,
The Buffalo.
Chase Edmonds, and Zach Moss. How on earth?
They
Like,
kind of yesterday was kind of a big like game of musical chairs
yeah.
with running backs, because like there was a lot of teams that swapped
And I
running
don't
backs
think anyone
low
got
key.
better.
Re-
I'm gonna be honest.
Oh,
Yeah.
so who
Yeah.
do you think no one got like a better opportunity? Because I
Significant.
I think
at
there's
least
I mean,
significantly
maybe
better.
Naheem Hines, but that's it.
Yeah.
well, even then, I would even argue Chase Edmonds, just because Chase Edmonds, they say Melvin Gordon is still the starter, Latavius Murray's still there, but they have played musical chairs since Javonte was gone, because the week Javonte got hurt was when they went all in on Javonte and gave him like a full like workload, and then that happened.
Oh man, we're going all in on Javonte. Hold my beer.
I know.
So I think when it comes to Chase Edmonds, I think he's going to get a lot of the third down work, and
I like
I
Chase
think it
Edmonds.
was
I don't know why no
either
one's giving him a
their
fair shot.
GM or one of the coaches there stated that he's going to be used in third down settings.
Good for him.
Alongside
Yeah, good.
Melvin
I'm a
Gordon
Chase Edmonds
and
fan.
Murray,
Yeah.
but I guarantee the only one that's going to have significant fantasy value, and I mean by that I mean like a flex, because they're all splitting the work. I'd give flex consideration to Murray because he's a touchdown magnet.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to get a lot of the goal line work. So
Yeah, I think
that's
Fair
about
enough.
the only
That-
fantasy relevant one right now.
I will say, I mean, there's another trade that makes things very interesting, and that's again Miami. Obviously, Miami trades away Chase Edmonds, but out of nowhere they go, "Hey, Jeff Wilson, come over here." So now you have Jeff Wilson and Mostert there,
Yeah.
and I think that kills Mostert.
Mostert
Well,
over
but
I
Jeff.
think he's still gonna benefit from having the lead back duties. I think that some of his passing downs will take a hit, but just like with Latavius,
I think it's
Murray, I don't think.
I think it's flipped
don't
when
think
it comes to
it's
Mozart and Jeff. I think there is a legitimate chance Jeff takes this job, and
because
it's because
I mean Mostert has looked good
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks. He's been top 5 since he's like taken over lead back duties in Miami. He has been a top 5 running back since then.
yeah, but I also don't think you make this Jeff Wilson trade if you are confident that he can do that for the rest of the season.
I think it was a throw in by San Francisco. So
that trade, I'll bring that up. That was a 2023 fifth. So they offsets one of the mid-round picks that San Francisco lost in the CMC trade.
yeah.
But the fact is though, like Jeff Wilson knows the Mike McDaniel system, obviously, because it's literally the Shanahan system. Like almost nothing has changed, but I feel like they would have kept with Gaskin or Salvin Ahmed if Mozart was like, hey, this is the guy, we're rolling with him. But the fact that Jeff Wilson's there makes me concerned that the highs we are seeing from Mostert may not happen anymore.
See, I think it was just a throw in because they I think Miami wanted to get out from under Chase Edmonds and his contract because they paid him quite a bit
Yeah, it
to be
was
there.
2 years, 12 million, I
Yeah,
believe.
they paid him quite a bit to be there, and
Suck.
they saw that Mostert was kind of dominating and
Yeah.
being much more productive than him. I think they were like, "Hey, let's get out from under this guy." So they may have just done that to clear their roster. So
I
Well,
guess
maybe
I
not.
guess my other question also with this is who on earth is the backup running back for San Francisco?
CMC, clearly.
See,
Elijah
oh
Mitchell when he comes back.
yeah, that's the answer.
So
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell would be the man, because I also thought about it is like, what if Elijah Mitchell's not good and the backup is technically Debo?
yeah.
Because we haven't seen anything from Jordan Mason. We haven't barely seen anything from Tyrion Davis Price. And I think he's still hurt, actually. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, Tyrion Davis Price is still hurt.
Yeah. And then Jermichael Hasty's in Jacksonville, basically doing the James Robinson
Yeah.
role. So it's just, I find that to be very interesting. How do you guys feel about James Cook? Because I might be throwing the panic button on that. And it's because,
No, just leave him on your taxi.
well, here's
He'll
what,
be okay.
but here's why though. Naeem Hines is his contract runs through 2024. And it's like, so now I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, that's another like 2 years.
Yeah, that one's tough. But I mean, just taxi squad, I think. That's the end of
You
the
think-
taxi squad anyways. It's
Yeah.
2 years.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I still think Singletary is going to be all right, but
I think he's gonna take a hit.
not
I don't know,
as
but Naeem
much,
Hines
but
wasn't doing anything with the Colts either.
yeah.
I honestly was not a fan from what I've seen from Naeem Hines. I think he just ended up in the best spot.
Yeah, and I think why the Bills made this trade is because they're like, we're gonna go deep and we just need someone who can learn this thing
But-
really fast. But
So what honestly, adding on to this, because I'm sure you don't have it, but what does this say about JT and the Colts? Is he just getting all of the work?
dude, I think that
Apparently,
I mean,
well, they
there's
have Deion Jackson.
yeah, Deion Jackson. So yeah, Deion Jackson is my one
and
thing.
he, yeah,
Okay.
But
and he proved himself as a pretty good pass catcher.
I don't think there's a fire sale, but I do think there might
I
be
did
some
like
writing
Deion
on the
better
wall.
than Nieheim.
Yeah,
Because the thing is the issue with the Colts right now is something they can't fix, and that's the O line. And
Yeah.
so now it's like, okay, what's all right? We're just gonna have to survive this year, and
Yeah.
I
think they'll get better.
I think they will get better because I think Ellinger was way more poised than I thought he would be, personally, and so that's what surprised me. But
Tell you what though, it's been difficult dealing with the Falcons community because it's just a bunch of people in the chat being like, I told you it was Matt Ryan's fault. And it's like, well,
no, but the thing is, you have to understand. I think Matt Ryan like held up Atlanta as much as he could, and I do think that it was just once you don't have to do that, it just everything can collapse. I think it just may have unfortunate,
but hey,
for lack of a
we
better
got
term.
a free 3rd round pick out of it. So
Yeah, you get free.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, and hopefully Ritter's the guy. So actually, hold on. Speaking of Atlanta, and I want to bring this up because that's the most surprising trade, but I want to categorize this as teams that have decided they're all in on their QB. So for me, I'll already say it. Bears trade Chase Claypool, which is the Bears pick. It is not the Ravens pick from the Roquan Smith trade. It is the Bears original pick. So that is a top 40 pick for Chase Claypool. And then Dolphins give up the first for Bradley Chubb, which means there's no first round pick, which means they are out on the sweepstakes of any quarterback, which means all in on Tua.
Going on.
And then Jacksonville, Calvin Ridley. So that's 3
Yeah, but we don't know if Calvin Ridley's ever going to come back.
Did
you see what he said though? He said he was hoping to go to Vegas. Calvin Ridley did.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Man,
it's just kind of like exactly. That was literally my
It was a
reaction right when
joke.
I saw it.
It
It
man.
was
was
like,
a
Well,
joke.
well, you know,
There's
no,
no
you
way.
want
He's
you
trolling.
want Ryan. You want to know what's not a joke?
What?
Guess what game Calvin Ridley got suspended on that he bet on.
Roulette. I don't know. What is that?
He bet on the Falcons Jaguars game last year.
oh, that's ironic.
The
Wow, the irony
irony
in that
is
is definitely
insane.
not lost.
So, but
I don't know. I
I
still
don't
don't
know.
think he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back for like 3 weeks and be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
my
Well, I
feelings.
want to
I'm
take, but I
retired.
do want to take this from a
I'm
dynasty.
tired.
Oh my goodness, I do want
I
to take
don't like
this.
football anymore.
I do want to take this from a dynasty
I want to bet
perspective.
on NFL games."
God dang
Okay,
it!
let's let
God
Josh
dang
talk.
it! Ah, oh my goodness. So I do want
He's tried so hard. Look at him go, right?
Oh my
dude,
gosh. Dude, Ethan, leave him.
I am a hamster on a Stonehenge wheel. That's how I feel right now. But all right.
We're just we're in a mood tonight, man. We're having a good time.
We are in a mood.
Today's gonna be a great day. But I do
Oh, for sure.
the only reason I bring these three teams up and these three trades specifically is because that's three teams out on the 5 potential first round quarterbacks next year. And I think that's a big deal
Yeah.
because now we're talking Detroit, New Orleans,
Vikings.
Vikings is another one.
But who goes for him of those? Well, I guess there's more than one. So.
But the reason why I say this is a big deal is now we can knock off the Bears, we can knock off the Dolphins, and knock off the Jaguars because they're like, okay, we have the guy.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
Yeah, the Jags already knew.
The Jags just need to keep building.
Yeah, Jags need to keep building, and then honestly, the luck they have had this year, it will flip next year. That is just my opinion. But and then on top of that, I mean, the Giants you have to talk about as a potential QB market. But I think that's why I put those trades together and went, okay, that's interesting.
Sure.
Now, actually, there's only one more trade we really have to talk about. Well, okay, I said we could bring up James Robinson getting traded for a conditional 6, and that basically just says, okay, we cannot depend on Michael Carter full time. Is basically what that told me. Did anyone get a different indicator from that trade?
No, yeah. I mean, Marco Carter just hasn't been it.
Yeah,
I think what we've all seen.
yeah. Besides,
and like what you said on Sunday, him in pass protection is just awful.
Yeah. So another one I do want to bring up. Okay, this is the fun one because I think he right now has more keeper and dynasty value than redraft, and that is Kadarius Toney. So the big deal.
Really, that's the last one we're talking about.
No.
Hey, what about Skoranek?
Skoranek didn't get traded unless I missed that.
Oh well, I guess not trades. Sorry, I thought we were talking about more like dynasty and value.
Oh no, Ryan, trust me, I have saved that for the last one because I think it's very important. But Kadarius Toney traded for a 2023 third and a 2023 6. So 2 picks, one pretty decently high. I don't know what this says about the current Chiefs room. I think they just went, okay, this is one of the freakiest athletes we've seen, and we know freaky athletes, aka Tyreek Hill. So we're gonna go for that.
Oh, you know what trade we didn't talk about? It was a little bit earlier. I don't know if you've covered it yet, but I don't know that I love the Falcons trading Deion Jones for just the 6th.
Oh, okay. So I didn't bring it up due to fantasy relevance, but my initial take on that trade was that they played a different we're playing a different system than the Seattle cover 3, and that kind of killed Deion Jones's value, and that's how the Browns were able to get so little for him. But even then, the Browns DC has so much talent, and they're still getting destroyed, unless you're facing a Jamar Chaseless Bengals team. But going back,
they got mauled.
They really did. They like Cleveland just ran over them, and also brought alignment in motion, and that was beautiful. But yeah, I want to talk about Kadarius Toney. How do you guys view him now? Like is he
I
so
like his position there.
how much are you
Um,
willing to give up for him is basically what I'm gonna ask here.
I don't know. I just speaking on his situation there, he's got a couple rungs in the ladder to climb. Um, and I think he can do that. I
Mhm.
don't know what exactly got him in the doghouse over in New York.
He
I'm
probably
hoping that
just
it
talked
doesn't happen
trash on the
here,
team.
Well, I
maybe.
mean,
But
new regime,
he
but also hamstrings.
mhm. But yeah, well, I mean, the fact that he was magically healthy after, being traded to uh Kansas City, it was just a little sus, but I like the situation he's in now. I think that he can do a lot. What I would give up for him, there's just a lot of question marks for me. I think
Mhm.
he's a buy, but he's a low end buy.
Yeah, I would
So
say that
I would
too.
maybe spend if you have a 5 round or a yeah 5 round rookie draft like we do, I'd spend maybe a third, maybe a second if that's on the low end, because
E-
I'm not super confident in what he can do.
I
So
will say there's quite a few good receivers coming into the draft, and if they're all gone by the end of the second, then by all means I say that's good value for Kadarius Toney. But realistically, I think fourth at the moment,
mm,
just because there is so many unknowns. Will his hamstrings magically heal up? Will he?
Find out next time.
Yeah, will he get more than 189 yards receiving in one game? How will they use him? Because that's actually the more interesting aspect. Because
Yeah.
he's unlike any receiver that they have there. Like MVS
yeah,
speed guy, Sky Moore is like a really tough slot guy, pretty shifty, but and then Juju
Juju's
is
there outside.
yeah, their outside bigger receiver. And then you have Kadarius Toney, who is your almost gadget, really shifty slot guy, or he could play outside if need be. So he just brings a completely different skill set. So
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
really curious to how they're going to use him, though.
yeah. It'll be
Guess
it'll
we'll
be
find out
interesting.
next week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we will. And I don't expect him to show up uh and like show out this week. I expect him to, take a little time to learn the playbook and whatnot, and honestly, for them to figure out how they can use him. So, it may
I don't
take
know.
a little
Patty
time,
Mahomes will find a way.
yeah. I think Mahomes will
Maybe,
find a way. Um,
but we'll see.
yeah, we shall see. And there's only one more trade that we can talk about, and I find this very shocking. James Rob. No, I'm just kidding. We already talked about that one. TJ Hawkinson traded from Detroit to
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
was a weird
yeah,
one.
that's a weird one to
it is a weird one.
Minnesota. And I'll bring out the trade details here. So it's TJ Hawkinson and a two 2023 fourths, but one of them is a conditional fourth. And
Yeah.
and that was traded for a 2023 second and a 2024 third. So I don't know what this says about Detroit and how they're view how they view things, but I do think
I just think they weren't using him, you know? I think it's more of like a personal inventory of like, we're not really like, we
yeah,
don't really need him. So let's see what value we can get for him.
yeah, and I think they got pretty decent value for it. I mean, obviously with this move came the news of Irv Smith being basically out for the year because he's being placed on IR.
Yeah.
But how does this affect the Vikings offense on a fantasy perspective?
I mean, obviously, I think the most impact it's going to make is in the red zone on the goal line, because, over the last couple of weeks, a lot of goal line work, a lot of the passing work has gone to the tight ends. You know, Johnny Munt, I think, caught a touchdown last week. Irv
Yeah.
Smith, 2 weeks ago, caught 2 touchdowns. So, there's some
Yeah, I
decent
think it's a
passing work
similar game
going to the
plan.
tight ends. I think they're
I think
they're
Hawk is
wanting
better
a
though.
good red zone target for Kirk Cousins. Other
And
than
Vikings have always valued that, like Kyle Rudolph back in the day, and then I'm trying to think who they
and
had
just
during Favre.
I think they're picking. I think they're picking up Hawkinson because Irv Smith, he has talent for miles, but he cannot stay healthy,
Mhm.
and they can't go another season waiting on him to get healthy for them to be good. So I think
I like the
they
move.
have all of the pieces in place right now to make a decent playoff run, and they're on their way for it if we can get our defense settled. But the offense,
Wait,
I think they needed a good tight end to be able to make that run. So
random
that's my
thought
thoughts
bubble
on
really quickly. But
what.
are the Ravens first in their division?
Yeah, Ravens are first in their division.
So
Okay,
Vikings.
here's a random thought for you guys. All three of our teams are first in their divisions.
Hey, look at
Hey,
I want you to
that.
stew on that
it's a
really
good year.
quickly.
It's a good year.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
good year to be a fan
it is.
over here at the
Yeah. All
podcast.
Yep.
thanks to Youngwei Koo.
The legend,
That's
Young
hey,
Blake.
listen, the man, the myth,
Hey, all I have to say is he got me 14
the coup.
points and I won by 1.2. I thank this man. But
I still love their
Except for
chant.
Alex,
I
who's
still
literally we're
love their
about to name the
chant.
worst place award for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he beat dude.
You lost to the Helt.
Yeah, because Harrison Bryant goosed with Njoku out.
Yeah.
Explain that. But there's actually one more reason
It's Harrison Bryant.
yeah, it's Harrison Bryant. There's one more reason I want to bring up the Hawkinson trade, and the biggest thing is I think this helps Dalvin Cook a lot because
Mhm.
Hawkinson
Yeah, we stand Dalvin Cook.
will by far be the best blocking tight end for
Yeah.
the Vikings. Why that
Yep.
took so long for me to say, I have no idea. But I do think I don't know on a fantasy value how impactful Hawkinson will be, but I know as far as running the ball and Dalvin Cook, that's going to be a big deal, especially because of they've been using more 11 personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So, my friends, I give you this question. No bus sleeper lock here. Who do you think was the best trade out of this entire trade frenzy?
Fantasy
No.
relevant or in general?
The Chase Claypool trade.
You think fantasy relevant too? Is the Chase Claypool trade?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think fantasy relevance.
here.
I think it
I think
bumps up.
Claypool.
yeah,
It bumps up Claypool. It bumps up
Fields.
Mooney.
Yeah.
It bumps up Fields.
Yeah, it's
and I think
probably
it takes
Claypool.
more pressure if they change their game plan. Because if they just stick to their game plan, this Chase Claypool trade meant nothing.
Well,
Right.
Because all they've been doing is running the ball, literally. Like
Which I'm all for. Just give it more to
So
Monty.
or
if they
Herbert.
change up their game
No.
plan a little bit and start throwing a little more, I think it's going to open it up for Monty.
Well, I also agree with you in that perspective, but they say they keep the game plan, say they still run the ball. Their play action game is going to get so much better now that I didn't realize Mooney got bunnies like that. Like he can almost out jump anybody for a ball. So he has great jump ball ability. But then you have this tough physical presence in Claypool, which if he can just get comfortable in this offense, I think can be very deadly and be way better than what Dante Pettis could be.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Speaking of Pittsburgh, who do they fire? Mike Tomlin or their offensive coordinator? Canada.
They're not going to fire Tomlin.
Look,
this is literally the first bad season he's had since he became coach.
Yeah, Ryan, let's talk about that.
And it's not a coincidence that it's the year that Roethlisberger leaves. It can't be a coincidence.
And on top,
well, it's a little bit deeper than that. They've had a lot of injuries too,
and but I think a lot of people complain about the middling years or not getting rid of Roethlisberger fast enough. But I really do think, like, if you think about mid 2010s and the fact that there was Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, Roethlisberger, and you figure out how on earth Juju, Claypool, and like how on earth like Tomlin kept a ship running. Like I do think Tomlin is an incredible coach. So the whole rumors of him being fired, like I I don't believe it for a second. I've had more issues with
yeah.
Matt Canada's offense, personally, but we none of us knew is because they've been dealing with Noodle Arm Ben for 3 years. So that's where like the issue is like, okay, what's Canada? What was Roethlisberger? And then on top of that, like personally for me, the best offensive coordinator Tomlin has had was Todd Haley. When he was there, and he was there with the AB, Mike Wallace, Le'Veon years. I do think part of the issue, though, and I think like for Najee's sake, for Pickett's sake, for Deontay's sake, and for anyone's sake, fix the O line, and they will be okay. Like they will have like one or two upgrades at the O line makes them passable. A whole revamp makes them relevant again, and that is literally the only reason why this year has gone sideways, in my opinion.
I think they could end up doing that this year.
Yeah.
I think they
Anyway,
should
so I didn't
do
want to
that.
get too sidetracked. I just want to know what
No.
y'all thought about it.
You're good.
You're
So we're here to talk about.
Yeah, but no, I definitely think we talked about one of those Steelers receivers was going, and now it makes it worse that Claypool's the one who announced the George Pickens pick,
Oh man,
and he
it's
just
like he sealed his own fate.
yeah, he read it, and it's like
it's like, oh, thank you,
yeah,
thank you.
I'm getting traded.
as soon as this year. So all righty, that is all the trade frenzy as far as when it comes to fantasy relevance. I will say by far, this has been the best trade deadline ever in history.
Yeah.
But I do think
It's nuts.
it's just literally out of the Rams went all in and it worked one time. But we've seen the Ravens and a couple other teams continually do this over years. And now it's like, oh, hey, let's just do it. Let's have fun with it. And so I do think this is a great precedent, and I do think that like this frenzy at the trade deadline is going to happen for years to come. I don't think this is going to be going away.
Better.
I mean, yeah, just people are getting more aggressive to like make moves and build their team.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that people are doing midseason rather than the off season is just because you're not paying as much, or you can like make things like happen, or like literally seasons can change on a dime, like based off one play. So but yeah, that is going to be the news segment for week 9 for this week for the Last Place Fantasy Football podcast. You will be getting our injury segment still. That's going to drop on Sunday, right before all of the week 9 early games. But we wanted to do a specific episode just to news because my goodness, there was a lot of it. But thank you again for everyone listening. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Our YouTube handle now, since they're doing that, is Last Place FP, and that is the same handle on all social media platforms. And also another big thing I also like to mention, while this trade deadline is over for the NFL, yours in fantasy is still going strong. So if you have any trade offer
15,
ideas, making moves. If you have any waiver ideas, any trade offer ideas, or lineup questions, feel free to hit us up.
You making moves?
Making moves. I'm making moves.
Good.
Make that.
Good for
anyways,
you.
all right.
Anyways,
this has been news.
Ethan, hit him with the quote.
Oh, you know what? Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're right.
All right, and then we will see y'all on Sunday.